I know, I know. I haven't had it very long. I've had it like a day. Not a review, per se. You've seen it. I picked up the Sigelei 100 watt, the regular one, not the plus. Picked up the Kanger Subtank. That is just a ginormous box, isn't it? Look at that. This is your box for your mod. That's your box for your tank. That's just huge. No, I haven't played with the rebuildable deck yet. I'm only on the second tank of juice for the 0.5 ohm head, which on my Sigelei reads 0.6. This is more of a, you know what? My Ego kit that I purchased, was that 4 years ago? Somewhere around there? Cost more than this setup did. And had this setup been around back when I got that Ego kit, I probably wouldn't have been a buy user for 3 years. So I gotta say, I haven't had a dry hit with this yet, no matter what airflow. I kind of like the 2 holes open on it instead of the 3. And I'm pretty much running probably somewhere around 90% VG there. I mean, it's thick. And that's what the first tank was, mostly VG. You know, take away for your flavoring, and that's what you get. Had this setup been around, there's no way I would have been a dual user. It would have been just, let's find a juice that we actually want to vape all the time. I'm just rocking that at 30 watts. Has been flawless. I got my Sonys in here right now. They do fit a little bit looser than my big boy E-Fest. They fit. I don't know what everybody was complaining about. They said, oh, the nipple tops are too tight. If you get them in, you'll never get them out. Got them in. And when I went to pop it open last night, I like to charge my batteries while I'm sleeping. Way I don't have to worry about it all day. They popped right back out. No big deal. I know what everybody was talking about. Hi, puppy. You're covered in snow and mud. That's awesome. So, 30 watts, 4.3 volts. My battery's down to 50%. Been vaping on this for about 5 hours right now. That's not bad. 5 hours, 50%. Good for me. I wasn't vaping on this. That's not what brought it down to 50%. What I was vaping on, and I was vaping on this, cranked all the way up just to check it out. Pull off that Subtank. Pull out the CLT. Screwdriver. The Subtank, I can put the pin down all the way. No problem. I do have that little collar on there for the heck of it. That's got some weight to it. The collar's on there for the heck of it, really. I gotta set this back up. There we go. Now 30 watts is what it's set at right now. The 0.3 ohm coil, according to the Sigelei. And you know, it read the 0.5 ohm, it's 0.6. At 30 watts, it's 3.3 volts. This isn't how I was vaping. So what we're going to do is we're going to bop that up to 50. Like my puppy's being bad. We'll go up to 50. And that's 4.1 volts. Your regular mech mod, right? The dog's got to get her paws wiped off. Come get her. Come get her. Here you go. There you go. That's at 50 watts. Now, what I was doing, and I'll just hold her down and go all the way up, 100 watts. I noticed that the coils I got in here are really big, fat coils. And this makes my topper, what do you want to call that on the CLT? Because it's not really a drip tip, because you can't, it's not a tip, it's the whole upper portion. I don't know. What do you want to call that? I mean, you know, a drip tip goes inside there. I don't know what you want to call that. But 100 watts. And that's how I was vaping it. The problem with that is the coils stay warm for a while, which is making my whole addy nice and warm. So when you go to put it up to your lips, maybe you'll burn your lips off. It'll be like the Men in Black when they had to go up to the fingerprint machine and get their fingerprints erased. Now I'm just going to do that with my lips. But I was highly enjoying that. Works out very nicely. Let the fog roll. So, it has worked with all my devices so far. Bop her back down here. Put the sub back on. It takes me a second though. That menu it's not really a menu. Leave it alone. Jeez, kids got to get into everything right now. So, back to 30 watts. Oh, you want to see what was in there? Alright. I dislike taking this apart. What's in there? This twisted 24 gauge. Big fat daddies wrapped around a 3mm screwdriver. Huge coils. At 30 watts, she ain't gonna produce anything. Nothing fancy. That's only 30 watts. I'm not pushing the button right now. That's just how much heat they hold in. I did wick this with some Japanese cotton. Came in with the Subtank. And said, well, let's try that out. I gotta make sure. Coils are so fat that if I move my airflow, the coil will touch the side of my addy. And you know that's not good, right? Now, we all know my ohm meter isn't the best thing in the world. However, it's been reading that at 0.35. Well, that was, my 0.35 was what I was having a problem with before when I would put stuff on. And that says 0.3. Because it doesn't read the second number. Alright? It just doesn't read it. Now, I'll put this back down. And I didn't bother to check that on the Z-Max. The Z-Max is, you know, when you have multiple things with ohm meters on them, how do you check which one's right? I have a multimeter. Every time I set it to ohms to go to check one of these, it doesn't read anywhere near what it's supposed to be, so either I'm doing something wrong or there's something wrong with every single meter I have. That is a nice vape at 30 watts. I haven't bothered to go above that on the Subtank so far, because that just works out well. Everybody likes a dragon coil. I found, I just looked for the heck of it today, and I'm hit like 40 subscribers. Yay me. Thanks, everybody. I don't get nothing out of this channel. It's just a vent channel for me. Maybe show people what's out there, what's available. And again, my Ego kit that I bought, I believe that was 2 little mini Ego batteries. We didn't even have the cartomizer yet where I got my stuff. It was the little atomizer, little 510 atomizer that you plugged in, and you use the Ego cone over it, and then the little mouthpiece that had some kind of foam junk in it that you drip some juice in. Okay, so it was 2 of those, or 2 batteries, the atomizer. I think I got 2 atomizers, and a 5-pack of those mouthpieces, the Ego cone, charger, and I think it was a 30 ml bottle of juice was what came in the kit. And the kit was $180. Wow. And I didn't smoke for a whole month, because that was basically a cigarette budget for a month then. And I used it solidly for a month, but it wasn't enough. And therefore, I went back and forth between vaping and smoking and vaping and smoking. I did that for 3 years. Well, things like the MVP come out. The MVP is nice. They got the new 20 watt out. You're going, that's not an MVP. Yeah, it is. It's just in a plastic box instead. You can tell from the top. There's the top metal piece originally from the MVP with the 510 connector. I haven't been using this a lot, but it's been sitting in the box for like weeks. I haven't charged it up. I just pick it up every now and then and take a few vapes off it. Got my Aspire Nova, the Aspire Nova with the BDC coil in it. I heard they came out with BVC coils for a little Nova. That might be worth taking a peek at, because I'm running a tobacco juice in here right now, and it was cloudy before, but now it looks like coffee. It was a lot lighter of a color. Still tastes right, but every now and then that gives me a dry hit. Or every now and then, especially when it gets low. What is it with tanks? Once they get low, they start to gurgle. Didn't happen with the Subtank, however. There's one little thing with the Subtank that I don't care for. And that is, and you're never going to see that. Let's see how close we can get that. You see that? I'll let the juice dissipate there. You see that hole? Do you see how far that hole right there is off the deck? That means you're going to have like, I don't know, a half a mil of juice or so. Maybe more. I don't know. I didn't measure it when I refilled. But you're going to have a bunch of juice left in your tank that won't wick. Because those holes for wicking the juice are so high up in there. And there's just no way to get all your juice. You know, you go like that all you want. It's not going to hit that one spot, two spots. There's a hole on both sides. But it's not going to happen. So it's either, if you want to change your flavor, dump out whatever juice is left in your tank back into your bottle, or dump the juice out into the sink. Either way, it's that's what I call wasted space in a tank. When you can't get all your juice out, I don't call this little air bubble, and there's just a little bit of room up at the top that you can't get e-juice in. And the air bubble up on top isn't what I call wasted space in the tank. The air bubble is there so your stuff wicks, man. If you don't have an air bubble in there at all, nothing's going to happen. You ever take a straw, dunk it into your soda, cap the top, and pull it up, and nothing comes out? Yeah, same effect. You need that air bubble in there to let the juice flow a little bit, you know, gives it a little bit of, what do you want to call that? It's not back pressure or anything like that, but you know what I'm saying. You need that air bubble in there just to equalize things out so it's not constant force holding up on there. Wasted space in my tank. That's wasted space. You can see that hole. That hole's a good 2 mils off the deck, at least. Probably right around 2 mil off the deck. So there's a little area that will never wick. That's wasted space in my tank. Highly enjoying that, though. The Sigelei is doing everything it's supposed to do. I went on my phone earlier and I was just checking, you know, Ohm's Law calculator and whatnot to see how correct the device was. And yeah, it works out within like 0.1, 0.2 of everything calculated out according to that. And so yeah, I do wish it said, you're not going to see that, are you? I'll get some shine on there. I wish it went to the second decimal point on the ohms. But it doesn't. It just goes to the 1 decimal point. I sure wish it did. It's working out nice. Have I put anything else on it? No, I put the CLT on it. And I put the Subtank on it. And that's about it. I can't put my Pro Tank on it. It doesn't get any airflow from the bottom. So I can't do that. Same thing with the Aspire Nova. There's no airflow holes cut in the top of this. So I can't put that on there. I can put my Nautilus on there. But I don't think I have a coil head for it other than the ones that I've tried to rewick. So we talked about the Ego kit costing $180. What did this cost? This was way less. Together, from myfreedomsmokes.com. That's where I ordered this from. They have bundle kits available with 3 different kinds of box mods. The Cloudport T6 or T8, I can't remember. There's another one. And then the Sigelei 100 watt. And then you have a choice of like 7 or 8 different tanks or atomizers. And that will all price depend on what you pick out. But this particular setup was $120 shipped out. And it only took 3 days to get here. Something like that. 3 or 4 days. Just pop my batteries in, start vaping. There's no menu on here. It's wattage up, wattage down, power on. 5 clicks to turn it off. 5 clicks, turn it back on. And that's it. I mean, it's as simple as an MVP. You can lock it. What is it? Now it's locked. Nothing happens. It says please unlock. And it's unlocked again. I don't know the difference between power it off and lock it. What's the difference? I don't know. It doesn't fire when it's locked. Mine don't. It's locked. Nothing. So, I don't understand the lock feature. That should be a lock of the voltage or wattage buttons instead, in my book. That way you're not accidentally pressing those, I guess. But it is what it is. So you can either lock it or just turn it off. Vape it however you like. You want to use your finger? Use your finger. Want to use your thumb? Use your thumb. It's pretty much exactly the same either way. You left-handed? But yeah, myfreedomsmokes.com. Nice product. I've ordered from them in the past, heads and whatnot. Good stuff, man. That's what I got for you. I just want to make a quick. If this was out back when I got my first kit, I don't think I would have been a buy user. This is awesome. I only wish they could have been a little bit more creative with the name of this. I mean, come on. The Aspire has the Atlantis. That sounds awesome. That sounds way better than the Kanger Subtank. Yeah, it is pretty heavy. It'll probably sink. It will sink. I'll do more of a video on that Subtank once I finally get tired. We'll say get tired of the head in there. It does come with like a 1.2 ohm head also. I'll try out eventually. And then it comes with the rebuild deck, which is very K-Fun styled. I did notice on the deck portion, I'll pull it out for you. Do a little quick here. I did move the coils around a bit from where they had it. It's kind of a pain in the butt to take out. It's the only thing that falls out of the box other than the spare bits. It's like a K-Fun deck without the top piece there. The top piece is the upper part of the tank. But it comes with that dual coil setup. And I did make them a little wonky. One goes up on one side, one goes up on the other side. But you know where that split is from the positive to negative post right there? One of the wires was touching that. And so I straightened that out as best I could for right now. I'll straighten it out better once I can put it on the deck itself and fire it a few times so I can squish them together, make them the way I want. Check out the ohms. I'm not sure what the ohms are supposed to read on that. Get her wicked up. I don't know. I'm kind of not feeling those that juice channel in there. If you notice, it's got that juice channel right there. There's one on each side. And then you notice there's a gap between the threads and the base, so juice can be in there. Alright, the issue I'm having is I don't feel there's any way that I'm going to be able to put my high VG juice in here. Because that's the hole right there that is going to wick. So my thick juice is going to have to go into that tiny hole and wick. And I don't really see that happening. So, at the moment, I only have one juice that would probably wick through that. And I believe that's a 5 ml tank. So, short of only filling the tank part way, I really don't feel like vaping 5 mils of classic blend from Vermilion River. It's the only one I got that's thin enough and is going to wick in there properly. Why do I say that? Because it's thin. It's a thinner juice, man. All I got going on is my, why'd I do that? Who knows? Why did I do that? Just VG juices all over the place, man. Everything I got is filled up with VG. VG this, VG that. Everything's VG. Why? Because I like the clouds. I'm not big on the throat hit. I'm not huge on the flavor. I did on the CLT when I wicked this up with the organic cotton and everything, and I got everything straightened out. I went, I'm going to grab a juice that hasn't really been dumbed down. So I grabbed one of my juices that hasn't been dumbed down, and it's other than the classic blend from Vermilion, which is what's in here. It's very flavorful for me because all my other juices have been dumbed down. I put that other juice in here that hasn't been dumbed down, and that was actually way too much flavor. Yeah, I like flavor and all, but when you've been vaping dumbed down juices for a couple of weeks or so, and then you put something full flavor in your Addy, wow! Talk about popping. A little disappointed in Matt and Vanessa there. Vanessa posted a little pic on her Instagram last night saying she's waiting for Matt to get primed up so they can do their vlog. And so I checked YouTube a couple hours later and still no vlog. Wasn't posted till this morning at like 6 o'clock. I realize you guys are out in the boonies, but your internet can't be that bad. Come on. Are you editing for that long? I don't edit nothing. Let the cards lay where they lay, man. That is just a wonderful vape. What are you vaping in there? It's pink, man. You're vaping pink stuff. Yeah, it's cherry. It's cherry, mostly VG. Cherry juice with, and I had poured it in one of my other bottles that I'd washed out, and that was that Mount Baker Vapor one I reviewed a ways back. That coffee nut one, whatever. And I washed that bottle out so I could reuse it because it's a nice little 15 ml bottle. And the nut flavor basically stayed in the bottle. So I don't know if it's like a burnt almond or a burnt hazelnut or something. It's somewhere around there, man. Somewhere in between those. But this tastes like cherry and that burnt nut flavor. It's kind of weird. But I don't mind it. It's flavor. I can't do O's though, man. Sorry. Just doesn't work. So, little disappearing act there. That's my impressions of it so far. I'll do a video of that Subtank when after I get some use out of that rebuildable head, and we'll see how that goes. It is nicely done though. I mean, but this is hefty, and this weighs more than the whole box. I mean, got the 2 batteries in there. I'll put my finger right where the switch is. 2 18650 batteries and a full Subtank, almost a full Subtank. It's heavy. Gonna have to get a holder for it. Oh, and there's one other thing. I was under the impression, and maybe it's just my lack of paying attention, I thought there was a charge port on the Sigelei 100 watt. But no, got battery venting, whatnot, but no charge port. So it's basically MVP with a supercharger in it, and yeah. Up-down functions, power off, power on, and lock feature. That's it. Adjustable pin. Don't really want to go through the whole thing of this, but there's really not a lot to review on this, okay? There's not. You can put the screws in the back, however, this does have the magnets in it. We'll just go through it real quick. 2 18650 batteries. My nipple top E-Fest work in there just fine. Got the ribbon in there. You can't see nothing. Got some nice venting going on there. Everything's covered up, so you don't see anything. You see the magnets top and the bottom there. Screw holes top and bottom. Probably never going to use the screws. Maybe I'll use the screws for my own project box. But yeah, it snaps in there real nice. Don't have the problem that Nick over there, Grim Green, had. He couldn't get that little ribbon to stay. Well, if you go under one battery first, and then back over the battery and under the next battery, then you only have this little short piece left, and it doesn't bother anybody. A little bit of juice on there. Flat black box. Probably the only thing I might do is get a J-wrap or something for that. It's pretty plain. I don't know what I would do with it, but I could always paint it. But that's a lot of taping off little buttons and whatnot. Tape off the screen and just paint it. But sounds like a pain in the butt. It does do that when you check atomizer. Yeah, there's nothing on it. Cool. So it does read 1 ohm though, however. Oh, and if you saw that before, I said, wow, the screen times out right away. Not like my buddies, it stays on all the time. It only times out really fast when there's nothing on it. If you put something on it, threads are fairly long on here. If you put something on it and fire it, that screen is going to stay on for a long time. What is it, that way? There you go. You can stare at that for a while. And I didn't bother looking to see how long it lasts. Probably going to be like 30 seconds or something. I don't know. I never paid attention to it. Like I said, I'm going to have to figure out some different juice for the rebuild portion, because I'm fairly certain it's not going to wick that VG juice as well as you would hope it would. It's been over 30 seconds. Still ain't off yet. I'm just going to hold it here. Yep, that's it. This is the video. Just going to hold it here. That's it. It's going to take a whole minute. I think it takes a whole minute. I never paid attention to it. There you go. Yeah, almost a minute. Like 56 seconds or something like that. So, there it is. I had nothing else for you. I think that'll do for today. So I will have other thoughts and whatnot up on this. There won't be a review on that. But go ahead, check it out. myfreedomsmokes.com. And go underneath kits, and 3 different kinds of box mods on there. And it's got to be at least, there's more than 7. There's a bunch of different atomizers and tanks and whatnot on there. And this turned out really nice. It turned out way cheaper. Sorry, picking up some wire. Way cheaper than some other places. So, yeah. Haven't gotten a bad thing yet from myfreedomsmokes.com. So, we hope we keep that going. And we hope this lasts a very, very long time. Because I know my little ego batteries lasted for like 3 years before they finally shut down. Blew up, whatever you want to call it. You all have fun now? Because I know I will. Play with the tank, man.